the concept of Makki and Madani verses. So we know that we have about 114 chapters in Quran. Some of them we classified as Makki surahs, Makki chapters, and the other one as Madani chapters. So what is the basis? When do we say a surah is Makki or Madani? What's the criterion? Many people make a mistake that they say that if the verse was revealed in Makkah, it is Makki. If it is revealed in Medina, it's Madani. That's wrong. The correct answer is we look at the Hijri calendar, or the Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad. How many years did Prophet live in Makkah? 13 years, and then he performed Hijrah and he lived in Medina for 10 years. So what happened? That is the demarcation. Everything that was revealed before Hijrah is Makki surahs and Makki verses, and after that it's Madani. And this is important, such a distinction is important, because what happens is sometimes after, for example, in Medina, he would move to Medina and verses would be revealed there, but sometimes he would come to Makkah for doing Umrah, right, or Hajj. So verses would be revealed in Makkah. Even though the verses were revealed in Makkah, that surah is still called Madani surah, because it was revealed after Hijrah. We'll see some examples. But some surahs can be Makki, Madani, and also verses. Verses is what makes a surah Makki and Madani. But sometimes it's like mix and match. A surah can have both Makki and Madani verses. So based on how much is the quantity more, we make it as Makki or Madani or whatever scholars decided. And how many Makki surahs do we have, and how many Madani surahs do we have? We have about at least definitely 20. 20, there is no difference of opinion, Madani surahs. There are more also. Scholars were disputed among themselves, there are difference of opinion. But about 20, majority of them are all Makki surahs. Easily 70, above 70. Just 20 and more, they are Madani. And as I said before, there are some surahs which has both Makkah and Medina. It was revealed in both places, but based on the verses where it was revealed after Hijrah, before Hijrah, we classified as such. And these are the 20 surahs that I listed. These are all Madani surahs. All scholars agree here. So basically the starting 10 surahs, the big ones, are all Madani except for the 6 and 7, An'am and Surah Al-A'raf. Those are all Madani surahs, and Nur, Ahzab, Muhammad, Fath, Hujurat, Hadid, and these, pretty much the entire of Juz 28, everything is Madani. And the last two Juz, all of them are Makki. All surahs are Makki, except for Idha Jaa Nasrullahi wal Fath, that is Madani surah. But all of them are Makki. And just a quick comparison, why do we need to know, really, what benefit do we get if we know what is Makki or Madani or not? You see, you get a context, you get an idea what this verse is really, what was the situation when it was revealed. Was Prophet Muhammad having very difficult times? Were the mushrikeen persecuting him during that time? Or is it a time when he was winning battles or after battles? So you get a context. But we get to know more about it by that information. So if you meet somebody, right, you go to a store, or some stranger, if they want to talk to you, what is the first question they ask? Usually they ask where are you from, right? Where are you from? Basically they want to get an idea where this person is from. So based on where this person is from, he gets this concept in his mind that, okay, this person has these characteristics. If he's an Arab, he would be having such and such characteristics, and so on. If he was so on and so forth. So you get an idea, basically. That's the whole purpose. And we get a lot of benefits as well. It helps you understand the abrogated and non-abrogated verses. We'll cover that topic that's coming. But I want to highlight the differences of all Makki and Madani. How do they differ basically? And this is the last slide, and then stop with that. Very quickly, Length of verses. Which one do you think is long verses and which one is short? The Makki, Madani is longer. You just look at Juz Amma, right? Wadduha, Wallayli, the Saja, Ma Wada. It's a short verses. In one line you will probably have 3-4 verses. So Makki verses are very, very short. And Madani verses are very, very big. 3 lines, 4 lines. And you know Surah Al-Baqarah, how the biggest verse we talked about? How much is it? One verse is whole page. So it's long verses. Average 3, 4, 20. If you take just 28, it's 3, 4 lines per verse. It's too big. And if you notice that sajda of recitation, this is very common in the Makki verses. And also muqatta'at that we mentioned, Alif Lam Mim, Alif Lam Ra, all of them are Makki except for Surah Al-Baqarah and the Surah Al-Imran. All of them have muqatta'at. And you also see that in Makki surahs, you have frequent oaths, Wadduha, Washams, and Wassamai, Wattariq, right? Wal Fajr, all these are the oaths of skies, the nights, the day, and so on. And if you notice in all the Makki verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a lot about the aqidah of the Muslim itself. It stresses on that, how people should worship Allah, they should refrain from shirk, worshipping from idols, and so on. So that was the main focus of all the verses. Rules of worship, where do you think these are defined? How to make hajj, how to give zakah, how much inheritance to give to your father, all this. So now we get into a lot of details here, right? How to fast, how to offer prayers, how many times, and all those things. That would be Madani verses. Now you're talking about well-settled community, so more detailed rulings would come. So those will be Madani verses. And akhlaq, where would this come? Mainly Makki verses again, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would talk about to have good character, to take care of the poor. You know, in those days they used to bury their daughters, right? The infanticide. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would rebuke them for doing such things. So that was the initial moral good conduct lessons Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give. And then if you're talking about Sharia, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would reveal lots and lots of rules in Madani surahs. He would talk about the marriage, what are the conditions and how it should be done, the divorce also, what are the conditions, how we should go about it, inheritance, and also criminal system, when should you cut the hands of a thief, and all those things. And stories of the prophets. There are lots of stories in Quran, right? Prophet Musa, Prophet Saleh, so on. Where would this come? Makki surahs. Makki, yeah. All of them are Makki surahs. Most of them actually. Allah subhanahu, because the whole idea is that in these stories, if you read them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the trials and tribulations those people went through, right? How tough it was for them. So during that time, Makkah period, Mushrikeen used to persecute them. So whenever Allah revealed verses like this, which were like story based, they would really get motivated, encouraged, and that would lift their iman. So that they would get benefited by that. And then sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would mention verses like Ya Ahlul Kitab and Munafiq, the hypocrites. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would mention their false beliefs, how they would plot to cause harm to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah would expose such things. These will be covered in the Medina verses. And jihad, where do you think this will come? Huh? Medina, of course, because we didn't have a state before Hijrah, right? So after we had a state of Medina, that's when a military was formed. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the command to jihad. Not a single verse before Hijrah, there was not a single verse about jihad. And if you notice, which surah? Surah Muddassir, right? Muddassir. It is a Makki surah, but the last few verses, there's like a big verse in the last that's talking about jihad, a little bit reference to jihad. So majority of that surah is Makki, but the last portion of it is Madani. So you have a surah where you have both Makki and Madani, but because of the majority of the verses being Makki, we make it a Makki surah. So it is sometimes possible. Remember that surah, when it is revealed, it is not revealed like everything in one time. Sometimes some surah will be revealed, and later on, after a few days, a verse would be embedded in between that surah. Prophet Muhammad would instruct whoever his writer is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered me to put this 6th verse in between 5th and 6th previous verse, or whatever, right? For example. So he would add that verse. So it was not completely revealed in one time. Sometimes it will reveal in stages.